Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. So today we will conclude our chapter that is strings. So only we are having the last topic that is known as array of strings. Now, as we know that one string, that is a single string, that is also a one type of single dimensional array. For taking one single string, what we are doing, we are making the array of the character, which is single dimensional. But suppose I want to create the array of strings. Now what does it mean? So the meaning, that meaning is, suppose you will say that array of integers. What does it mean? That you can enter more than one integer. Fine. In the same way, array of strings, that means you can enter more than one strings. Fine. So for that you have to create two-dimensional array of the characters. Why? Because for one dimensional array of the character, that is known as strings, but you want to create the array of that string also, and that's why we have to use here two-dimensional array. So suppose we have used here two-dimensional array. Fine. So what does it mean? So the meaning is we can enter 5 strings of the size 10 character. That means we are at first we are what we are writing like care the name of size 10. So what does it mean? That means the string is of, we can enter the string of the size maximum 10. Fine. So this is the size of the each string. This 10 is the size of each string. Fine. And how many strings we can enter? So that is 5. Again, let me repeat, the size of each string, that is 10. We can enter the length of the string, that is maximum 10, or we anything less than will be chale, but maximum 10. Otherwise, your output will be incorrect. So the size of each and every string, that will be 10, that whatever what we previously write. Fine. And how many strings we can enter? So that is 5. So here you can see that the meaning is that we can enter 5 names having 10 characters each. Each strings can have 10 characters. And how many strings? That is 5 strings. We can enter 5 strings. Okay. Now let's go to the code blocks. First of all, hash include hash include studio.h, hash include conio.h, then integer name, return 0. Okay. So first of all, what I will write, char, the name of the array is name. Also I can take subject, whatever name I want. Now how many subjects I want to enter? How many subjects I want to enter? So suppose I want to enter 3 subjects, and for each subject, the length of each subject is suppose 10. Fine. So 10 length na koi bhi subject nu naam hu enter કરી શકું છું. Suppose if I will enter programming for problem solving, so that the length of this string is greater than 10. So I cannot enter this, but I can enter only suppose mathematics. Fine. So the total I can enter 3 subjects. How many strings I want, I will write into the first array or first dimension, and the size of each string that I will mention here, that is 10. Okay, fine. Now what we are doing, we have to execute the loop from integer I equals to 0, because how many strings we want, how many strings we have to enter, that is 3. So we will start the loop from 0 to I less than 3. 0 to I less than 3, that means 0, 1 and 2. That means total 3 times this loop will be executed. Again, let me repeat. I equals to 0, then here I plus plus, that means I will be incremented, so I will be 1. Then and then again I plus plus, that means I will be incremented, that means I equals to 2. And then I plus plus, that means I equals to 3. But 3 is less than 3, no, so the loop will be exit. So total how many times this loop will execute? For I equals to 0, for I equals to 1 and for I equals to 2, total 3 times. Fine, because we have started from 0. Suppose I will start from 1, then I have to put here less than or equal to. So that it will be I equals to 1, I equals to 2 and I equals to 3. So total 3 times this loop will execute. So whatever I can prefer. So I will start from 0. So how many strings we want to enter? That is total 3. So that's why here we have written I equals to 0 and I less than 3. So total 3 times this loop will execute. Now printf, enter your string, enter your string. Let me put here /n, then scan. Percentage s. Okay, and here I will write name of first dimension, that is I. Name of first dimension, that is I. That means first of all I equals to 0. Okay, so for I equals to 0, the condition is true because 0 is less than 3. So we will be inside this for loop. So first of all, into the output, it will ask enter your string. Then using scanf, we will enter the strings and that will be stored as a first string, that is name of 0. That will be stored as a first string, that is name of 0. Sorry, no name. I have to write here subject. Subject. Okay, fine. Okay. So that is for first string. Then again I plus plus, so subject of 1. That is for second string. Then again I plus plus, I equals to 2. That is subject of 2. That is for third string. So total we will enter 3 times our string. And suppose I want to print all these strings again. So again I will execute my loop from integer I equals to 0, I less than 3, I plus plus. And this time I will print the strings. So percentage s and subject of I. So here we have scanned the value of, that means user will input 3 times the strings, and in the last we will print our strings whatever we have entered. So now let's try to execute this program. So first of all, enter your string. Suppose I will enter the subject mathematics. Again enter your strings because loop will execute 3 times. So again it is asking me enter your strings. Suppose I will enter here English. Again enter your string because the loop will execute 3 times. And I am entering Sanskrit. Fine. And the last, all the strings will be printed, maths, English and Sanskrit. See, into the printf I have not used /n. That's why the whole Everything is in the single line. Fine. So I have to put slash n here. Here I have not used slash n. That's why everything is printed into the single line. So this is known as array of string, into which you can enter more than one strings, using which you can enter more than one strings. Okay. Now let's start the new chapter, that is known as user defined functions. Fine. Now what is user defined function? Let me explain that. First of all, we are having inbuilt function, that is integer main, right? That we all are using. Then return 0. Fine. Now what is the meaning of user defined function and why we required the user defined function? So suppose I want to add two numbers, then subtract two numbers, multiply two numbers, then I want to convert that number into the binary also. I want to convert that number into the hexadecimal also. Then I want to, so for the same two numbers, I want to perform more than one operation. For the same two numbers, I want to perform more than one operation. So you can see, suppose everything I will write here. Suppose integer a equals to 9 and b equals to also suppose 9, and I want to sum of them. What I will write here, integer a plus b. I want to subtract them. What I will write here, integer a minus b. I want to multiply there. I will write here integer multiplication a into b. I want to divide them. I will write integer division equals to a divided by b. I want remainder of them, integer rem equals to a modulo b. Fine. So you can see that if there are lots of operations, fine. But if we are having only one function, that is main. See here you are doing the simple small programs. But whenever you will write, suppose you want to create one game. So in that game, it is not only one functionality that you can develop into this main. There will be lots of functionalities, and if you will try to implement all the functionalities into the single method, that is main, then your program will be complex, more and more complex. And if you will give that code to some another person for future reference or for developing something new from that, but for that person it will be impossible to understand your code, because you have written everything, every functionality inside the single function that is known as main. Fine. So this is the disadvantage of having only single method, that is main method. So it is always required to develop a user defined function so that your code can be more easy and your code can be into the more readable format. Fine. So that is the main functionality of making user defined function. Okay. Now the thing is how you can make user defined function. Requirement you have understand that for user readability, for making user readability easy, and for writing also, for writing your code to make that process easy, we are using user defined function. Okay, suppose ke, now the next question is how we can uh, write user defined function. So for there are three steps. First step is you have to declare your function. That means what will be the syntax of your function. That means what will be the date. Suppose I am using the function integer sum. and I am going to use two variables, integer a and integer b, and then I will put semicolon. Now this is known as function prototype, or we can say function declaration. I will comment here and I will write it is known as function declaration, and always you have to write function declaration above the integer main. Again, sorry, always you have to write function declaration above the integer main. Fine. Now what you are writing in this declaration part? So the name of your function is sum, so function name, then function return type, what this function will return to you, any integer value or not. Suppose it is not going to return anything, then you have to write here void. Fine, but suppose your function will be return some value, then you have to write here integer. Now let's take, for easiness, let's take here void first time. Fine. And the third thing is which parameters you are going to use, which input you are going to use. Parameters means input. Parameters means input. Now how many input you will be required to do the sum? For doing the sum, you will require two inputs, first number and second number. That means A and B. Fine. So that is known as parameters. And the parameters you have to declare here into the brackets. So this is known as function declaration. Now the next thing is function definition. Now function definition will be outside of your integer main. That means અહીંયા તમારું integer main complete થઈ જાય છે, એની બહાર તમારે અહીંયા function ને શું કરવાનું છે? Define કરવાનું છે. First one is function declaration. Second one is function definition. Now function definition मतलब કે એમાં તમારે તમારો કોડ લખવાનો છે. Fine. So સૌથી પહેલા તો void sum, then the parameters integer a, integer b. Okay. Now I will write in what is the meaning of function definition. So function definition means you will be write here your logic, for what purpose you have make your function. So for what purpose I have made my function? To do the sum. So how I will write for that? First of all I will require third variable, that is integer c, then c equals to a plus b. This is what my logic, because I want to do the sum here. So into the definition part I will write here my logic, and now I will print that. What I will print here? C, the value of c, percentage d, because it is the integer value. Then the variable name is c, and then semicolon. Fine. Now the next thing is, always I have told you into the first lecture that your execution of C program is always start from integer main. Now your compiler will be execute this integer main, then it will be go inside this function, that is integer main. Now from here it is always required to call your function that you have made outside of the integer main, because your execution will be always start from integer main. And whenever your compiler go inside this integer main, you have to tell your compiler that there is one function which name is sum. Otherwise compiler cannot know that you have made one function whose name is sum. So you have to tell your compiler that you have made one function and its name is sum. So how you will know, how you will write that? So that is known as, now this is known as function definition. And now we are going to call our function. Now whenever we are calling our function, at that time we do not have to write this return type. At that time we do not have to write the return type. We will just call the function with the function name, and we have to pass here two parameters. So first parameter is integer a. That means I have to pass any integer value. So I will pass here suppose 2 and the second value that is 3. That's it. Fine. So how compiler will work? So first of all, your compiler will start the execution from this integer main. Then it will see that there is a some function whose name is sum, and its parameters are two integer value. First one is 2 and second one is 3. So whenever you will be call this function, your compiler will be directly jump to here. Your compiler will directly jump to the here, that is the function definition. So after calling, your function definition will be execute. Fine. તો અહીંયા જે તમે 2 વેલ્યુ પાસ કરી છે એ કેમાં પાસ થઈ જશે? અહીંયા a ની અંદર. પછી અહીંયા તમે જે 3 પાસ કરેલી છે અહીંયા b માં પાસ થઈ જશે. પછી integer c, then c equals to a plus b, that means 2 plus 3, that means 5, and your output will be printed, that is 5. Okay. તો અહીંયા કેવું છે કે okay, અહીંયા કેવું છે કે whenever some new child will born, what we are doing, we are registering that child using Aadhaar card into the government. We have to register that child into the government. For that, what we are doing, we are making the Aadhaar card. So the same thing here, we have made one new function, but we have to register that function into the main function, so that compiler can know that there is one function whose name is sum. Is it clear? So there are three parts: function declaration, function, then this is known as function calling, and the last one is function definition. Okay, so what you have to write inside this function declaration? Inside this function declaration, you have to give the return type of the function, the name of the function, and the data types of the function, and then put semicolon. That's it. That means compiler can know that what is the prototype of this function. That's it. Then you have to write the definition of your function. That means whatever logic you want to write, you have written some function for some purpose. Always whenever we are making some function, we always make that function for some special purpose. So that logic we have to write inside this definition, and then after, in the last, we have to call our function from the main. Fine. And whenever we are calling our function, we do not require to mention the return type. We do not have to require to mention the return type. We will just write the name of the function and we will pass the value of the parameters. That's it. So now let's see the theory. So you can read that a function is a block of code that performs a specific task. Suppose you need to create a program to create a circle and color it. So you can create a circle function and you can create a color function, right? So always function is a block of code that performs a specific task. Then after us, types of functions. So first function type is standard library functions, and the second one is user defined functions. So I have explained you user defined functions, and standard library functions are what? Suppose printf. Printf is also one type of function, but it is a standard library function. Why? Because it is defined into the header file. Into which header file? That is studio.h. Then after sqrt function, that means it will find out the square root of some particular number, and that function is defined into the header file, that is math.h. Then after previously we have seen strlen function, that is defined into the live header file, that is string.h. Then strcmp function, that is also defined into the string.h. So this type of functions are known as standard library functions, because these functions are defined already into the header files. Whenever you will use header files, you are able to use that functions. Suppose into the string.h, we want to use the functions, that is strlen function. For that, we have to include the library, or we can say the header file, that is string.h. So for using this type of standard library functions, we have to include particular library, or we can say we have to include particular header file. So this is known as standard library functions, which are defined into the particular header file. Like printf is defined into the studio.h. Then clear screen, that is defined into the conio.h. Then getcs, that is defined into the conio.h. Then sqrt function, that is defined into the math.h header file. So this is a standard library functions, and the next one is user defined functions. So user defined function, you can see from the screen that whenever you will call one function, so compiler will directly jump to the function. Whenever you will call some function, compiler will directly jump to that function and execute the logic, which whatever you have written inside that function. And after completion of that particular function, your compiler will return exact the next line of the function calling, because when the function is called, you have jump to your function. Now after completion of this function, compiler should have to return from the next line of the function calling. So this is the execution. And here you can see one program into which they have okay, we will see this into the next lecture. So that is enough for today. So now all of you kindly give me your attendance from the roll number 1. Roll number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72. Okay. So all of you, you may leave. Thank you.